This is a car, and this is Grand Theft Auto. Cars are kind of important in Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it's in the name. There are nearly 1,000 different cars in GTA Online, added over the course of 13 years. Some of them have missiles, machine guns, jammers, bulletproof tires, mines, turrets, and some just suck. But have you ever wondered, what companies make these vehicles? In our world, we have brands like Ford, Ferrari, and Cadillac. What exists within the world of Grand Theft Auto? Today, we're gonna look at 7 different car companies in GTA. What real-life brands inspired them, the vehicles they produce, and the influence they had on the game. Vapid is the most American car company. This brand is based on Ford. These guys produce a million different cars and most of them are trash. They are the quantity over quality car company of GTA. They make sports cars, trucks, sedans, tow trucks, vans, and supercars. Where you've probably seen these are the police cars of GTA. They make those. True American patriots. My favorite car from Vapid has to be the Liberator, the most American monster truck ever produced. Vapid's influence on GTA is almost impossible to avoid because its vehicles make up so much of the game's background. Vapid may not make the best vehicles in every category, but they helped make Los Santos feel like an actual American city. Other companies have more iconic cars, but few have shaped the overall look of GTA's roads as much as Vapid. Vapid helped create the ordinary world of Grand Theft Auto, but once GTA Online released, cars became much more than background decoration. They became one of the main ways players displayed their wealth, and during the earliest years of the game, no company represented wealth better than Truffade. Truffade is the name of a French dish from
Auvergne.
But in GTA, it's the name of a car company. This is a luxury car brand inspired by Bugatti. If you own a vehicle warehouse, you are familiar with the company's Z-Type, as it is one of the few vehicles actually worth selling. Other cars they produce are the Thrax and Nero sports cars. However, by far the most iconic car made by this company has to be the Adder. This was the original rich man's car in Grand Theft Auto. It was the most expensive car in the game, and one of the fastest as well. If you owned this, you made it in a fictional game. Big stuff. The influence this brand had on the game has diminished over the years. It went from an icon of luxury to a company nobody even cares about. It's been years since they last released a car, and they've faded away from the conscience of the average GTA Online player. That being said, its influence cannot be debated. Before players measured their progress through businesses, owning an Adder was what mattered. The Adder may have been the original symbol of wealth, but it would not remain the only car players dreamed of owning. As GTA Online expanded, Rockstar added more supercars, and an Italian brand became one of Truffade's biggest competitors. Grotti is an Italian car company based on Ferrari. They make a lot of cars that were classics in the early history of GTA Online, like the Turismo R and the Cheetah. They never really got into the weaponized vehicle scene, besides the Vigilante. That car was based on the Batmobile and had a rocket boost. Oh, and they also made these little compact cars. They actually had a lot of different cars within the game, and also boats. They make a lot of boats. Grotti helped establish the supercar as the ultimate status symbol, and the company has continued releasing new vehicles long after many older brands faded into the background. Even the Vigilante feels different than most weaponized vehicles. Grotti may not have changed how GTA Online is played, but it helped define what players dreamed of owning. But supercars had one major problem. They looked impressive, but they were not always useful. As GTA Online became more focused on missions and grinding, players needed something that could do more than just sit inside a garage. They needed a car that could keep them alive. That's where we get to Karin. This is a Japanese brand inspired by Toyota and Subaru. Karin specialized in affordable sedans like the Sultan and its variants. Karin also got into the weaponized vehicle market with the Technical and its variants. The idea was basically a pickup truck with a machine gun mounted on the back, and its inspiration is the Toyotas that always seem sported by African warlords. The most famous Karin car is definitely the armored Kuruma, the armored variant of, well, the Kuruma. This is the quintessential starting vehicle in GTA Online. Although the car cannot take any sticky bombs or rockets, it's completely bulletproof. It's not the greatest vehicle in the game, but with Japanese engineering, it sure is reliable. It's fast and armored enough. Basically the most good enough car imaginable. Karin has never been the flashiest company in GTA Online, but it may be one of the most useful. For years, buying an armored Kuruma was almost a rite of passage for anyone starting the game. Karin's influence is not based on luxury or extreme performance. It comes from reliability. The armored Kuruma changed what players expect from a useful vehicle, but it still behaved like an actual car. It drove on roads and generally respected the laws of physics. The next next company would begin to change that. Coil. Coil is an American electric car company. What's different about them is they also produce guns and bicycles. Quite a diverse company. Their most popular car is the Rocket Voltic, one of the original special vehicles added to the game. They're the company behind the minigun and stun gun. Oh, and they also make the railgun, so you can thank them for that. Coil's influence comes from helping introduce GTA Online's obsession with futuristic technology. Coil proved that GTA Online's vehicles no longer needed to be realistic. This next company took the next step by combining futuristic technology with something that would define the game for years: homing missiles. And that brings us to Imponte. This brand was inspired by Pontiac and is an American car company. Imponte produces many different kinds of cars within the world of Grand Theft Auto. They mostly specialize in muscle cars like the Ruiner, Dukes, Phoenix, and the Arbiter GT. Some of these probably look familiar to veteran players. New players might recognize this company as the one behind the Duke of Death, a starter armored car. Where this company really shined was in its introduction of weaponized vehicles to Grand Theft Auto. That's right, you can thank Imponte for the arms race that eventually ended with the Oppressor Mark II and Toreador. These are the guys behind the Ruiner 2000, added with the Import-Export update in December of 2016. Inspired by the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am from the TV show Knight Rider, the Ruiner 2000 came with the ability to jump, deploy a parachute, but most importantly, came with machine guns and rockets straight out of the box. I don't know how that passed safety standards. Imponte would one-up themselves a year later with the release of the Deluxo. This car was the bane of the existence of GTA Online players. The Deluxo was the company's jump into the sports car market. Instead of a regular vehicle, the engineers at Imponte figured out hover technology, allowing the Deluxo to fly. They also improved their missile technology from the Ruiner 2000, and I guess hired Albert Einstein or something to head up the program because the missiles on this car fly around corners and make 90-degree turns to hit their target. The Ruiner 2000 and the Deluxo helped establish the formula that would define GTA Online for years. Take a recognizable vehicle, give it some futuristic ability, cover it in weapons, and charge players millions of dollars for it. You can go into any lobby and see someone driving an Imponte-made car. Imponte may have started by making muscle cars, but they expanded into one of the most recognizable manufacturers of weaponized vehicles in the entire game. The Deluxo was a heavily armed vehicle that could fly, but it was still relatively large and slow. Another brand would take that basic idea, shrink it down, and place it onto a motorcycle to create one of the most controversial vehicles in gaming history. We'll next talk about Pegassi, not the DJ. In GTA, Pegassi is an Italian car company. They're inspired by Lamborghini and Pagani. Pegassi makes plenty of sports cars, supercars, motorcycles, and mopeds. That being said, the most infamous of the Pegassi vehicles are the Oppressor and the Oppressor Mark II. The Mark II might be the most popular and iconic vehicle in GTA Online. In the 8 years since its release, the Mark II has become the go-to vehicle for griefer and grinder alike. Every serious player has one. It's also one of the most expensive vehicles in the entire game, coming in at $8 million. Pegassi also produced its counter. That's right, Pegassi is the company behind the Toreador, another weaponized vehicle. Instead of a hyper-futuristic design, Pegassi went to classic sports cars for the Toreador. On top of that, they added missile resistance and homing rockets. They created the problem and then sold the solution. Pretty smart if you ask me. Pegassi may have influenced GTA Online more than any other vehicle company. Before the Mark II, traveling around Los Santos usually meant driving a car or flying a helicopter. The Mark II changed that completely. These brands also tell the story of how GTA Online changed. Early in the game, players wanted an Adder or Turismo R because owning an expensive supercar meant you had made it. Later, the armored Kuruma became essential for completing missions. Eventually, vehicles like the Deluxo, Toreador, and Mark II transformed cars from transportation into some of the most powerful weapons in the game. And with GTA 6 introducing an entirely new city, Rockstar also has the opportunity to reinvent these companies again. I'm coming in here at the end. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. It really helps, and be sure to check out some of my other videos. I really appreciate the support.